All right, Seattle Seahawks versus the Detroit Lions. It's going to be a great game. If you're new to the channel, we are Detroit Lions fans, but we have this channel talking about teams and stories that just get overlooked by the national media. Seahawks are a team that we've talked about many times on this channel, especially this year, leading up to this year. Just felt like they were being overlooked, and now here they play each other finally, Lions, Seahawks. But the Seahawks actually catch an unexpected break when it comes to the injury report. So if you look at it, it's not great for for the Seahawks, but I'm going to get to why they caught a break on this whole thing. So Seahawks, you look at the players that are going to be out, and what you notice is Byron Murphy and Leonard Williams. No surprise, they left last game and they did not return to the game. So you know it's going to be something a little bit more serious. So we know the big part of this game is that the Lions are going to run the ball. The Seahawks need to stop that. And because once the Lions start running the ball, then it's Jared Goff's really good at play action and things that they do off of that. So it's just really important to stop the run. Well, you're missing your best defensive lineman. Well, here's the break that you catch is that the Detroit Lions are without their center, who he's 28 years old. He's the best center in football, right? I'm probably biased. He's the best center in football. But the thing that's big about this is, you lose the best center in football, but then what happens is any injury on the offensive line is always interesting because now our left guard's going to move to center, and so he's out of position, and then now we have a new left guard come in. So you've got 2 out of the 5 in new positions. It's a really big deal. Frank Ragnow, when you really study the tape on him, he is what makes it all work. We know we have Penei Sewell, Taylor Decker, and I promise this is a Seahawks video, but I mean, obviously, since you're playing the Lions, it would help to know some of this stuff. The tackles are really, really good. One is elite in Penei Sewell. Taylor Decker's been around forever, just a stalwart left tackle type of guy. But it all hinges off of the center, and so to not have him kind of levels the playing field between the Seahawks and the Detroit Lions. Now it feels like, okay, both of those injuries that you have are kind of mitigated a little bit because, or at least the Lions don't have their top center. So that's good. Good for the Seahawks. And so you kind of catch this break because Frank Ragnow played all last week. It was kind of like, well, he's probably going to play, right? And then Dan Campbell said, look, we've got a bye next week. And I think that really played into the decision to say, let's keep him out. That gives him 2 full weeks to heal. Let's not screw with putting Frank Ragnow out there. So that really changes things. Now, when you look at the game itself, there's really 4 big areas that the Lions, Seahawks that are going to be really the keys to victory. So first one that I think is interesting is that the Lions, of course, need to run on the ground. And then Seattle's run defense was near the bottom of the league in most categories in 2023. The Lions had 100 yards and scored a touchdown in their last meeting. But that's before the Seahawks have kind of tuned things up. New head coach, defensive minded. Through 3 weeks in 2024, the Seahawks have improved their run defense, most credited to an altered scheme. So that's good news for the Seahawks because it's not necessarily the players, and you've got the players, and it's important to have the right players, and some of those guys are out. So it's like, you know what? It's not necessarily the players as much as it is the scheme. That's really big. So that's huge for the Lions and the Seahawks matchup. Who's going to win the rushing battle? Second thing, if you're a Seahawks fan, I think these quarterbacks are more similar than they are different. Both guys can get the job done, can play at high level, have played big games, have won big games. However, both guys are kind of looked at like, I don't know. And yet 80% of the teams in the league would take either one of these quarterbacks. Maybe not that high. But, I mean, you're taking these 2 guys over Baker Mayfield. I mean, right? I don't know. Right. We could debate this forever on different quarterbacks. Who would you rather have? Would you rather have these guys or Anthony Richardson, right? Come on. Who would the Vegas rather have? Who would the Broncos rather have? Right? So my point in saying all this is that this game really comes down to those two as well. But Jared Goff, I mean, geez, he can play so well or so bad. So keep an eye on that as we go throughout this game. The Seahawks have made him look not great. I mean, they really have. Now, the Seahawks are here to prove that they are really good and that the defense is much better because people are still doubting them. They went against Bo Nix in his first ever start, Jacoby Brissett, who's okay, and then in a complete train wreck last week, Skylar Thompson and Tim Boyle. So the Seahawks are like, no, we're for real. Watch this. Everyone else in the league's like, are you guys really that good? So that will be something to watch, and I'm excited to see that. The next thing that I think is really important, and I'm going to pull this one up, is the explosive battle on both sides of the ball. This is a big debate right now. You've heard it, that too high safeties. Teams are just taking away the big play. I think if you're Seattle, you're trying to take away the big play, of course, but you can't let the Lions just run on you. So that's going to be how are we going to do that? Same thing with the Lions. Lions are like, we cannot let DK Metcalf go. However, we have to get up. We can't let Geno dink and dunk us. I mean, as a Lions fan, that's what I feel like last couple meetings have been. It's just like, oh my gosh. It probably doesn't seem like that to a Seahawks fan. It feels like you're just, but to a Lions fan, watching Geno just hit, it's like a 4-yard pass, cuts it up a little bit, 8 yards. 3-yard pass, cuts it up, 6-yard play. And it's just like, oh my gosh. And it would be, and Geno keeps you on schedule. It's 3rd and 1. It's 3rd and 2. It's 3rd and 3. All right, 3rd and 3, get 4 yards. I mean, it's like, oh my gosh. So the Lions can't sit back. They cannot sit back, and they have not sat back this year. They are going to be up in the grill of the Seahawks. So keep that in mind and see if the Seahawks can get over the top. Last but not least is, how will the Seahawks handle Aiden Hutchinson? He is leading the league in sacks, leading the league in pressures. He's by a mile too, like way out in front on both of these categories. So how will they handle him? They're not going to let him be a game wrecker. I mean, your coach knows him very well. Was his defensive coordinator at Michigan. It's just not going to let him wreck the game. So Mike McDonald really influenced me by giving me a lot of freedom in the defense, allowing me to just let loose. It's feel like when I'm at my best is when the coordinator trusts me and we're on the same page, is what Aiden Hutchinson said about Mike McDonald. So they know each other well. It's going to be interesting to see how that happens. So I think overall, both teams are very even. It's Monday Night Football. It's a big game. Lions home atmosphere. Hasn't seemed to matter in the last few years. The Seahawks have come here and just said, what's up? And just taking care of business. So Seahawks own this matchup lately, and we'll see what happens. So let me know your thoughts. Let me know your score prediction down below, and we'll see all of you on the next one.